All right, so I want to know, like, after so many years writing these books, like, how fulfilling was it to actually step on the set and see your vision come to life?
Well, it was amazing. I mean, the scale was so much larger than anything I had envisioned that it took my breath away, literally. I had envisioned a very small little group of 30 people running around with a couple of handheld cameras, for a few actors over there. There's a trailer for something, and I remember driving up to the set, out to this guarded set in the countryside where they were doing the outdoors scenes, and seeing a field off to my left with at least 200 cars, and I thought, what is this? Is that a junkyard? No, that's not a junkyard. And then coming around the corner and seeing all the trailers lined up over there, rows of trailers. So, that's when you sort of get the feeling, this is a lot bigger than what I thought it was going to be, and maybe it's going to be a lot more wonderful than I could have hoped for.
There's a bit of a sort of handoff of trust that goes along with that. How did you feel about, sort of letting go and letting somebody else play with your vision?
Well, all writers are suspicious of any other medium, because every time something is adapted, there's reasons to think that they're going to screw it up for you. And then you have to explain to your fans why you sold out.
Right.
And I've heard this over and over again, and I've repeatedly said to the readers, don't worry, you're not going to get sold out. I'm going to protect this property as very best I can. I won't give it away unless I'm sure it's going to be okay. And luckily, that's the way it's gone. So I haven't felt like haven't been able to say to them, stop worrying. Yes, it's MTV. That doesn't mean the end of the world. They're capable of doing good work too, and they have in this case. And the people that are on there, I know they don't look like what you envisioned. They don't necessarily look what I envisioned. But the point is, they're good at what they do, and they really bring those characters to life. And isn't that what you want? That sort of thing. And mostly it works.
So today, you've already done the panel, right? So you got to see the reaction. How was the reaction today in the hall?
It was great. People were very excited. Really, since we did San Diego, and then I've done 2 or 3 since then, and come here to New York. The response has been overwhelmingly strong on the social media end of things. My fans, for the most part, have all said, we're behind you on this. We just love what we see. The trailers were good enough, I think, to reassure everybody that it wasn't going to be a disappointment to them.
How much do you actually spend time on the internet hearing what people have to say?
Almost none.
Oh, that's smart.
I was taught a long time ago by my first editor, who was kind of my mentor in the business, said, you're going to get good reviews, you're going to get bad reviews. Don't pay any attention to any of them. Said you have to follow your own thought. Remember, it's one person's opinion, not the whole world's.
Right.
So you just don't worry about that. And the problem is and of course this was back in the days of newspapers and magazines, and that's about it. So now we have social media coming out the wazoo, right? And the problem is that it's if you spend all your time looking up yourself, you don't have time for anything else.
Yeah.
And you're not that special. Not you. I am not that special, right?
We all aren't, right?
We aren't. And it's not helpful to you as a writer to start reading all this and thinking that somehow this is important to your success as a writer, what other people think of you.
How much time did you spend consulting and being on set and those things?
Well, I was on set for, my wife and I, Jadine, were on set for about 10 days in New Zealand. That was enough time to meet everybody. And, I'm sort of the godfather, so everybody, Mr. Brooks, And that was very nice. Everybody was pleasant. I did enjoy meeting Jonathan Liebsman there and all the actors. And that was it. Other than that, my job was to go back to writing books, which is what I do for a living. And in the meantime, I vetted the scripts as they came across my screen to comment on them to the writers, to make suggestions, to answer questions, to provide help when I could to difficult problems that they were facing with the adaptation. So I was sort of there to fill in the blanks when they needed filling in and to make sure everything was going on the straight and narrow.
With so much content over the years, how do you keep it straight yourself? It's just so many things going on.
Hire younger people. These days, my web druid Sean, who's around here somewhere, runs all my social media and websites. Is a huge fan, knows all the books. So when I don't know the answer, I just call him up and say, "What did I do back there?" And he gives me the answer. I have a lot of readers that will do that for me as well. I do keep kind of a log record of things that I've done that helps me find the answers to the questions that I'm not really sure about.
Right.
But sadly, as we get older, it's true that it becomes harder to remember things. I'm sorry to break this to you, but it will happen, and suddenly you'll forget the names of characters and everything else. So you do have to do some research more so. It probably helps that I have historical sagas,
Right.
so we leave certain eras behind, and I don't have to think about them anymore, except in general terms,
Right.
and start with new characters for every 3 or 4 books.
Awesome. Well, thank you so
All
much for
right.
talking. Enjoy the con.
Nice to see you.